Get up on your feet. Get up on your
It's
feet.
reading time!
Get up on your feet.
Turning points in U.S. history. Civil Rights Movement by Veronica Wilkins. Chapter 1. Little Rock 9. In September 1957, 9 black students started at a school in Little Rock, Arkansas. Before, only white students went there. White people harassed the black students. They became known as the Little Rock 9. Arkansas's governor sent soldiers. They kept the black students out. President Dwight D. Eisenhower responded. How? He sent soldiers too. These soldiers kept the Little Rock 9 safe. They walked them to school. The Little Rock 9 were part of the Civil Rights Movement. This movement took place in the 1950s and 1960s. Black people fought for equal rights. They wanted to end centuries of oppression. U.S. slavery ended with the Civil War from 1861 to 1865. But laws were still unfair. They made voting hard for black people. Many places were segregated. These are segregated water fountains, one for the white and one for colored. Chapter 2. Many protests. The Supreme Court ruled segregation illegal in 1954, but many places did not follow the law. Black activists led protests starting in 1955. Rosa Parks was one. She refused to give her bus seat to a white man. Here's Rosa Parks. Parks was arrested. After this, around 40,000 black people stopped riding buses. Many walked instead. As a result, a court said buses must integrate. Others led sit-ins at segregated places. Many were at restaurant lunch counters. Protesters sat. They wouldn't leave. These sit-ins began in Greensboro, North Carolina, but they spread. Lunch counters began serving black people. What do you think? How would it feel to not be allowed somewhere? Would you protest? Why or why not? Lunch counter sit-in. Black Panther Party members. Malcolm X was a black leader. He spoke about black pride. He thought black people should defend themselves against violence. His ideas helped form the Black Panther Party. Members of this party kept black neighborhoods safe. They gave food. They gave clothes too. Here's Malcolm X. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. led many protests. One was the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. It was on August 28, 1963. About 250,000 people marched. Dr. King gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. He spoke of his hopes. He wanted equal rights. He inspired many. What do you think? Dr. King was later killed for his beliefs. Before his death, he faced threats. He was arrested 29 times during protests. He kept protesting. Why do you think he did this? March on Washington for jobs and freedom. Here's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Jose Williams and John Lewis. On March 7th, 1965, Black people marched in Alabama. Why? Black people were stopped from voting there. John Lewis was one leader. Jose Williams was another. Marchers were hurt. People saw on TV. This led to more marches. Take a look. Dr. King led another march in Alabama. It was more than 50 miles or 80 kilometers long. It took 5 days. Marchers had to stop and camp, see their route. Chapter 3. Laws Change. The Alabama marches brought change. President Lyndon B. Johnson signed a law. The Voting Rights Act made voting easier for Black people. Here's the ballot. Protests changed many laws. Like what? Segregation ended. Voting got easier. It became illegal to stop Black people from living where they wanted. Thousands of activists fought for equal rights. They faced violence. They fought anyway. The civil rights movement helped Black people, but they still face prejudice. Many still fight for equal rights. Do you know anyone who fights for equality? What do you think? People protest about issues they care about. What do you care about? How could you help make a change? Excellent job, readers. The end. Or is it? Please remember to subscribe. Thank you.